Meghalaya Governor has in fact stepped down after close to 90 staff members at the Governor's house wrote a letter to Prime Minister Modi bringing serious allegations including sexual misconduct. The centre has accepted that resignation and the staff say while they don't want to come on camera, but they believe it's a moral victory. Women's rights groups have been taking to the streets of Shillong asking for his removal for the last few days. In fact, now they're saying a resignation simply is not enough. The alleged scandal burst, in fact, was exposed when a local daily reported a female candidate who was allegedly molested by the governor during a job interview at the governor's house. In a signed letter, she's gone on to say the governor called me and sent text messages to me on my personal number and asked me to visit him at Raj Bhawan. When I went there, he asked me questions on my personal life and forcefully hugged and kissed me. Well, we'll get into that discussion in just a bit, but I'm also joined on the phone line by Kiran Bedi, the Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. Ma'am, thanks very much for speaking to us. First up, incidents like this, ma'am, devalue, of course, not just the individual, but the sanctity of the governor's office. Shouldn't the person in question, in case the ex-governor have stepped down, as soon as those allegations, in fact, were raised?
The fact that he stepped down means that obviously there was evidence and substance behind it. But I think just mere allegation you can't step down. But the fact that there has been evidence and that the government of India is satisfied and the Rashtrapati Bhavan is satisfied, he's lost his job. The resignation is accepted.
Ma'am, when there's so much at stake, there are many who are asking that, should the centre be react? And it's not just limited to this case, but should governments at the centre react sooner before we see these kind of protests there on the streets?
I'm afraid I do not know when did the process begin and why was it delayed. I have no idea. Whatever I'm saying is limited to little things, a little bit which I've seen on the television of yesterday. Sure. All I know is that there was a protest from the Raj Bhavan staff and that his resignation is accepted. Now, when did the allegations begin? Who complained? Where was the matter pending? We do not know. I think rest will be all history, which we'll get to know over a period.
Fair enough, ma'am. Ma'am, also very quickly, there's been the politicization of the governor's office has been under the scanner for the last few years. We see it keeps coming up. For instance, you were the BJP's chief ministerial candidate in Delhi. You went on to become governor of Puducherry. You are having tension with the Congress government there. Do you believe that one way to put all this talk aside is to sort of be more transparent in the selection of the governor?
Your whole premise seems to be so amazingly strange. I have not been appointed by the BJP. I've been appointed by the President of India, and I'm sworn by the Constitution of India. That's my oath. That's my oath. So, and I'm an administrator here, and I'm bound by the Union Territories Act and the business rules. And I have no immunity for any wrong done. I enjoy no immunity as a Lieutenant Governor. So what are we talking about?
Sure, ma'am, you're basically responding to demands that say that we should make it more transparent in the sense that there should be the Prime Minister, say the leader of the opposition or Rajya Sabha panel that should be involved in choosing governors. How would you respond to that, ma'am?
Well, that's for the government of India to take a call on how they wish to appoint governors. But as you know, India is a union of states. India is partly federal, partly unity, and governors are not elected persons. They are constitutional heads in a way.
Right. Fair enough, ma'am. Kiran Bedi, thanks very much, ma'am, for your time. Clearly, the last word on the story hasn't been spoken. Well, let me just introduce my guest now, Molak Ratan Kohli, the former governor of Mizoram, with us in the studio. Shaina NC, the BJP spokesperson, also with us on the program. And we'll also be joined by Ajoy Kumar, Congress spokesperson, in just a bit. Shaina NC, ma'am, first to you. If we just take a look at what the staff at the governor's office has said, saying that the governor has compromised the dignity of the Raj Bhavan. He's made it a young ladies' club. Also saying that some of these women, in fact, had direct access to the governor's bedroom. Many are asking, ma'am, this evening that why the centre woke up so late, only when it sort of made it to the national dailies. It was in the local papers, we are told, for a while there. Should the government have acted sooner?
Well, first and foremost, if there is an allegation, it needs to be substantiated with proof. Now the question here is there enough proof to suggest that he is guilty, or could it be a campaign which has a certain kind of an agenda? I mean, the Meghalaya governor is known as somebody who had, if you go into his absolute profile, you will realize that there hasn't been ever a question of compromising his own dignity or the dignity of the chair through his career. So I just find it quite unfortunate that we're making it out to be as if this judgment is pronounced on national television without any kind of basic investigation. Yes, if there is a murmuring, that murmuring too should be investigated upon.
Sure.
But we can't form judgments sitting here on television channels only because it seems to be a great
There's
story.
absolutely no arguing with that, Shaina NC. But these, of course, are very serious allegations. Very often people, women especially, not comfortable in coming out with them, especially when it involves taking high office. So just in the interest of transparency, wouldn't it be easier if the governor were to, in such situations, step down sooner and the centre were to act quicker?
Well, that's for the government to decide depending on whatever facts are available and whatever investigation suggests. Please do understand that whenever a decision is taken, that is based on evidence and not hearsay. And if there is evidence to suggest that he compromised with either the office of the governor or if there was any kind of misuse of power or coercion, or that people came up who were not meant to be in the Raj Bhawan at stipulated times,
then
or were in access of a certain kind of a special treatment, then of course you can expect this kind of decision.
So you're saying let the investigation carry on, let's see what the probe yields, and then we'll be in a... Fair enough. Of course, others would say that it's a serious allegation. Right. Well, let's go across to Ajay Kumar now. This is, of course, there are many who are drawing parallels to what happened with NDTV there in Andhra Pradesh. So really, no political party immune to such goings on. How do you believe we can save the office of the governor from such states?
You know, Natasha, first of all, Mr. Shanmuganathan's incident is not the first. Whether it's whether in the present circumstances, whether it's Mr. Tathagat Roy, the statements he has made, or Mr. Raj Bhawan, or even Mr. P.B. Acharya, the Assam governor, and the controversy they got into, and even what is happening in Delhi and what is happening in Pondicherry, and if you look at across, and even Uttar Pradesh. So the question is, if the Rashtriya, and it's the strange parallel is all of them by and large, except Raj Bhawan, who was a civil servant, seems to be from the RSS background. And why is it that whenever the BJP is putting governors, they are getting, they are going head on against the the popularly elected government?
Mr.
So those are questions.
Right, I see your point. I see the point that you're making, Mr.
One sec.
I just want to say, Mr. Kumar, that I see the point that you're making, but this is, of course, one issue where there's very little to choose between the Congress and the BJP. Frankly, it began, it will always be told, in the times of Indira Gandhi, maybe even before Janata government in 1977. In fact, way back then, and every government is as guilty, every party is as guilty.
Natasha. No, Natasha, the question again is my shirt more dirtier than yours, etc., etc. Discussion is a no-end discussion. The government is presently in power. They came in with the promise to change things, and so let's hold. So because this is the easiest way to get them out of accountability. They are in power. They are accountable. If we are in power, we also should be accountable on any of such issues, and we accept that. So the question is very simple. That Mr. Shanmugam, the allegations against him are very, very serious. It's not an overnight allegation.
Right.
And the government would have definitely had murmurings of this issue before. Only when it became public, only when the letter became public, was the pressure put on him to put into his papers and all. So the issue is very clear. When did the central government know of these issues, or whatever be the, whether it's the Raj Bhawan has become a ladies' club or not? My concern is let the government, I'll just finish. Let the government answer. Did they know it before? And were they only pressurized because it became public? And if that is the case, then we have a serious issue of misgovernance from the part of the central government.
Shaina NC, ma'am, I'll let you respond very quickly to that before we look at the larger picture of the governor's office and not just this one case.
Firstly, when do you actually take action? When a woman files a complaint. Now, if the woman has filed a complaint against the governor, then it is a different scenario. If she is being coerced to file a complaint against the governor, it's a different scenario. And if there is an absolute campaign which is that there should be disrespect caused to the honorable governor so that it becomes an area of certain kind of misconduct, or to suggest that there was humiliation of his staff, etc., that can only be proven, Natasha, after an investigation.
Fair
Who are
enough.
you, me, or
You're
Mr. Ajoy
fair
Kumar
enough. There are,
to
of
decide
course,
that this is
Shaina,
the way
there are,
it
of course,
has
those who would
happened
say
or
that
not?
women
How do you
can't-
know it's not a conspiracy? How do you know it's not a political vendetta? How do you know it's not another story that there is a political party behind this?
How do you
wanting
know
to
there's not
cause,
more to it than meets the eye?
shame
I
to
get
the post of
I
the
get what
governor?
you're saying, Shaina. Let me get in, look, Ratan Kohli, as someone
Natasha.
who's held the governor's office, sir. How do you believe these incidents ought to be handled? It's not the first, and in all probability, it's not going to be the last. But how do we maintain the dignity of one of our top officers?
Well, Natasha, I will not go into the political angle at
Please
all.
don't, yes.
I must say the dignity of the office of the governor has to be maintained by all of us, including the governor himself. That cannot be compromised. At the same time, the ladies in question, or lady, their dignity is also equally important. First of all, let me tell you, there was no complaint from any woman. It came in the news item on 24th of January.
It was the correspondence that she had actually
It's
had with a reporter who'd been speaking to her for
Fair
several
enough,
weeks to
fair.
get her
Maybe,
side of the story.
Maybe not several weeks, just about a week.
She says
Because-
a month, actually.
Maybe. I have no idea.
Okay.
Now, this was only at the level of media. Then, 24th, a news item appears on January. 25th, Raj Bhawan staff sent a representation to Prime Minister, President, and Home Minister. 26th, the governor is resigning. I don't expect any process to be faster than this. And if he has resigned on the advice of the Government of India, then Government of India has taken it very seriously, and it's a welcome decision. If he has resigned on his own also, I will compliment him for maintaining the dignity of the office.
Let me ask,
Dignity of the office cannot be compromised.
Right.
I don't want to go into any other part.
Fair enough.
Now, please understand. I've been governor of Meghalaya also for 1 month. Governor house is like a family, where if they do not enjoy the protection of the top man, and if governor has not enjoyed the confidence of the Raj Bhavan staff, he is not fit to be a governor.